Hello, yeah, this is another devlog for my roguelike adventure game, Neko Quest. This time we're working on the character customization, finally. Let's check it out. So first we got this sort of, character, visual customization here. You got your preview, just the default character, but you can change this now. We got our hue, saturation, value slider, so you can change the color, saturation, you know what these do. We can also change the letter, so maybe it's like, oh, you want to impersonate a Snecko, you can set that up. Maybe even more like that. Little Snecko looking character there. That's the first stage. Okay, and then you go to the next stage, so you go enter. There's 3 stages. This is the next one, our species list. So you have a list of different species here. I guess I can just go through all of them. So these are kind of acting as class archetypes. So Neko, it's Neko Quest. Of course, is just sort of the basic character. You have just generic sort of default stats. You can pretty much spec into almost anything. And of course we have this bonus here, more bonuses from cat-related food. So stuff like fish or catnip or anything that uses those as ingredients is going to give you more healing, more potent effects. So the sturdy will be even more sturdy and it'll last longer. Things like that. So this is the sort of easier class. And then we have some sort of variation. So Fox, less strength but more dex and speed. So this is more of a rogue type builds that you can build with this. And speed now affects it's the chance you can move without enemies sort of getting to move. So the higher your speed, the more you can move before enemies can. And so that's where it comes in with these builds. So you can get into position and then use the dex, high dex to deal a bunch of damage with your throwing knives or whatever. That's the sort of thought for this build. And there's no buffs, so only some of the classes have buffs, some have debuffs even, so we'll get into that in a second. Then we have Bunny. This is our first magic build, less HP, bunch of magic, speed, so you can get into position to fire your magic instead of, because lining it up is actually pretty challenging because the enemies move as soon as you do, that sort of thing. So you have more mana, more magic. I'll probably tweak all these. This will take a bunch of playtesting to tweak. So this is just the base values, the general gist of the class for now. Okay, next is Dragon. So you have more HP and more strength. So this is more of a run in barbarian builds. You just run in guns blazing, don't think about anything else, and that's reflected in our bonuses here. So you see we get increased melee damage. So not only do you start with more strength, every attack you deal gets extra damage on top of that strength. So this is a powerhouse character here. But the downside for that is your skills level up slower, so it's going to be hard to obtain fish for healing or cooking food, things like that. You level up at half the speed, so it's way slower. So depending on how important skills end up being in the game, this may be a severe debuff. But as always, all this stuff is going to take playtesting. So then we have the Celestial Being. So this is another magic class, but it's a little tougher. So you have even less HP, even more mana, and magic power. And so you see here we get the stats increased magic damage. So that's just the same as the dragon, but with magic. Passive mana regen. I think this is going to be huge. Not having to use items to gain your mana back, I think that's ginormous. So you won't even need to use regular weapons. You can just use only magic through your run. But the downside for these is you can't equip armor. So I have it so you can still equip helmet and boots. Those are the other types of defensive stuff, but you can't equip armor, which will be your main source of defense. So if an enemy hits you, you're probably getting one shot. This may be a pretty challenging character as well. Next we have Panda. This is sort of the opposite of that. We have no magic, super high HP, and super high defense. So this is our tank class here. Greater block chance. Again, this works the same as the dragon, but for defense. So on top of the passive, higher defense that you have, you get even more block chance from just being a panda. It's just on top of everything else. So it's an additional buff like that. Anyway, more healing from food. Every food heals you more. I think this is all food, not just cooked food. Yeah, anyway. And then the downside is you can't use any magic at all, no magic class, and you also can't use ranged weapons, which I don't think that's going to be that much of an issue, because you have no dex and no perception, and there's no ranged weapons for anything else. So yeah, tank, but no magic, no ranged. Octopus here, this is our melee fighter. I figured octopus it has a bunch of arms, you're pa 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 pa, beating people up. So to reflect that, you have high strength, high dexterity, and yeah, so you get more HP and mana from, I'm just reading the script at this point. What is this, a PowerPoint? Anyway, yeah, more buffs from raw ingredients. So if you fish and eat a fish, like, so compare it to like cooking, for example, right? If you eat a fish and eat a catnip, it's almost as good as cooking them and putting them together and eating the resulting like food that would make. It's almost as good. It's not quite, but you don't have to deal with like cooking or anything. It's not as powerful for the other classes where, like, you know, for like a, even for like a Neko, like a catnip or a fish would only heal like 5 HP or mana. But for the octopus, it's gonna heal a lot. It's gonna heal like 10, right? So it's way better in that way. You don't have to worry about preparation in like towns and stuff like that as much. Anyway, and the downside is you can't use weapons. You can't equip weapons specifically. So you can only use your fists. And right now the damage calculation is strength plus dex over, oh, what would be the number? Times 0.7. That's the amount. And so this ends up to be around 10 damage, which is roughly in line with the other classes, like 10 magic or, you know, 10 strength. It's roughly in line with the other classes damage, what it would be. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun to play. It's sort of like a monk build, like a fighter, you know. Anyway, last one we have is Robot. This is like the challenge character. So the stats are pretty much all like the low, not the lowest, but they're pretty, most of them are pretty darn low. So it's going to be really hard to deal damage on this class. And also, as an added debuff, you can't eat any food. So you can't regen HP through food, you can't get mana through food, none of that. I do want to have it so you can still use potions if I end up adding potions, because there does need to be a way to heal at all. At least I think, maybe not, I don't know. But I do, if there are potions, I think the robot will still be able to use those. So it's going to be like a challenge character. Like, you need to hurry up and get some healing items before you get knocked out. Because the easy food, like, you know, fish or like farming is not available to you. So anyway, let's choose, we'll just go with Neko, and then, oh, so here's the way this list works. You press space to select a different item and it shows it here, and then you enter to do next, instead of like enter selecting your current item. So you can look through them and then like, okay, this is the one I want. Even if you're on something else, you select that. Finally, this is the professions tab. So these are sort of like presets, and they just give you your generic, or not generic, they give you your specific, like what are you gonna do in the game. So warrior gives you a sword and a shield. You can't equip both at the same time, but it gives you both. So like if you need a sword or you need a shield, you choose this. And some of them give like, yeah, so the rogue, you get a trap, a bunch of traps to use on enemies early on, because maybe the dagger won't be as powerful as say the sword or like the magic staff will be for their respective classes. So you get a little bit of like a early game power boost to help you along. Knight is like your tank, like only has armor. And some of them give you actual profession, like knowledge. So the chef starts out with cooking level 25, which is like a little bit of the way there to instant cooking. It's the way there for, what is it, like better meals or something like that? Whatever the buffs are. And then you start with some random food, like cooked food items. So I think this one's gonna be pretty powerful. Yeah, those are those. Anyway, I'm not super set on all of these. I mean, I'd like to have them. I'd like to have just a huge selection here, honestly, of like ideas of like, oh, like I'd like a, I don't know, a thief class that gets some lockpicks, or a farmer class that gets a pitchfork. I don't know. Like, yeah. So if you have any ideas for these, or for the species, for any like archetype, like class archetypes. So yeah, the species are like the class archetypes. The profession is more so of like a, is just helping you along there. But if you use a magic staff on a character that has no magic, like you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot there. Or you're not, because you don't have any magic to produce the fireball to shoot yourself in the foot with. You know what I mean? I don't know. What we choose, let's go with rogue here. Yeah, and then we go back in game where our Sneko, here I'll leave this on. Our Sneko from before, we can mine our rocks. Look at it. Oh, is this the same? Wait, maybe this is, yeah, I just added the species. Nothing's there, but if you do actually choose a species with like a bunch of like stuff here, it shows your debuffs just to check them. And then where else was I gonna check? Yeah, let's just equip this here. So now the stats show it's the current amount, and then it shows all the buffs. So our sword gives us some strength, it shows that, or the shield gives us some, I think, def, so it shows that. It shows the base plus all your equipment, like items, are giving you. And so I think, oh yeah, and we also have like a random button, so you can just quickly start up. Oh yeah, quickly start up with like a random. So it gave us a fox with chain armor, not a good combo because I mean, I guess it's alright because our dex is not bad. So we do a little bit of damage, but anyway, that's that. And it also randomizes your character, which is pretty cool. Your like outfit, I guess. Anyway, that is that's all for this week. I think next time is gonna be maybe big, maybe doing the like world map, which is gonna be interesting to see how that fits together. Or it may be something else if I get distracted. I don't know. We'll see what happens. As always, if you have feedback on any of this or ideas for any species or professions to add, definitely let me know, and I'm happy to see that stuff. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you later. Bye, yeah.